Right, so what am I talking about? The FA Cup on Channel 4. Now, I like that more broadcasters are showing women's football. It's completely different to how it was when I was growing up. Just a quick story. When I was growing up, the only women's football that you got to see were England games, um, FA Cup finals, and if you're lucky enough, Women's Champions League finals. That was it when I was growing up. But now I'm kind of jealous of the younger generation who get to watch women's football any way they want. I mean, women's football is even on Sky Sports now, and that wasn't a thing just a few years ago. But now the way women's football is being broadcast on all these channels is great because it really does help with the visibility of women's football, which was kickstarted by the BBC, and then ITV started doing women's football in, I think it was the early 2020s. I remember they did an England Latvia game, which we've talked extensively about. When I say we, I don't mean me specifically, but the wider circle of women's football has talked about that England Latvia game. But yeah, speaking of which, that was the first time ITV aired women's football, I think. Or if I'm wrong, then someone please tell me. But yeah, I like to see that more broadcasters are airing women's football now, and it's not just one channel that's doing it, but multiple. Like you have the BBC doing, um, they're showing highlights of the WSL. You have ITV doing England games, Channel 4 doing FA Cup games, and sticking with Channel 4, I like that they're showing the earlier rounds as well. As you'll remember, a little earlier in January, they did Wolves versus Nottingham Forest, which I thought was really interesting. As in previous seasons, the only time that the FA Cup would be on TV would be from the round of 16 or quarterfinals. I mean, that's better than showing just the semi-finals and the final. But looking at Channel 4 doing FA Cup games from earlier rounds, it shows that women's football is more than just an event, but rather a journey, as that's what football is anyway, a journey. But anyway, I really do hope that Channel 4 broadcasting the FA Cup from the earlier rounds continues on an onwards and upwards trajectory of broadcasting women's football. And I really do hope that at some point we see the Women's League Cup on TV as well. As unless I'm mistaken, I've never seen a Women's League Cup game on TV. Yes, I've seen highlights on YouTube or other means of social media, but not once have I seen a live game on TV. Like, not even the semi final or the final. But as next season, the format's going to change, and yeah, I don't think that'll be on anytime soon. In fact, I actually think that the 25-26, 26-27 season of the Women's League Cup may well be the last season of the Women's League Cup. Because for me, I'm not a massive fan of that tournament, but I'm not going to say any more on that. But anyway, um, what's your takeaway from this video, and what are your thoughts on Channel 4 airing the Women's FA Cup. Speaking of broadcasting women's football, I don't really want to see women's football on the red button anymore. Because for me, I think women's football has outgrown being on the red button. I mean, I get it worked for a period of time, but nah, women's football has outgrown being on the red button. Also, I did mention the League Cup. Now, what channel would that be broadcast on? As you see with the men's tournament, it's been broadcast on ITV since last season, and it's been on the BBC for a bit during the early 2010s. As as the tournament is mainly on Sky Sports, but the Women's League Cup, which channel do you think would be most likely to broadcast that tournament on? BBC, ITV, or Channel 4? What do you think?